Hello, this is Anna with Cottage on Oak, and today we are going to discuss how to create an entryway. So to start off, I wanted to share some screenshots that I took off of Pinterest of some entryway inspiration. So if we look through these images, as I show them on the screen, one of the items that you see throughout most of these images is a console table, as well as a mirror, fresh or faux florals, depending on the season, or stems. The images that I'm sharing with you are also from houses that do not have an entryway room or a house built with a space large enough specifically designated to an entryway. So a lot of these homes are choosing a wall as soon as you walk into your front door, whether that be a wall next to your door, in front of it on the side like mine, or to the other side, a little space. I have a space between my windows and my front door. Sometimes people use that space as their entryway. Or in my last house, it was under 1,000 square feet. So one spot that I used to create my entryway was as soon as you open the front door, there was a wall right in front of the front door. And I used that to help create my entryway. So when you are in your house, you first want to choose a spot to put your entryway. I chose this wall because it has the tallest point, and I have this huge piece of antique window that I wanted to put here as my entryway backdrop. If you have a small space, that is also fine. We can work with that as well. They are usually the funnest to decorate, if that's a word, funnest. So once you pick a spot in your house, usually your living room, and it's usually by the front door. Now if you choose the back door to make an entryway, that's usually typically called a mudroom, not your entryway. So we want to stick to a spot next to the front door. If you do not currently have a console table to use in your entryway, you can always find one off of Facebook Marketplace. That is where I found mine. Or you can also always use a dresser that is console table height. We don't want a super tall dresser. We want it kind of like at our hips. A lot of times it is nice to have a console table that has drawers to hide things like remotes, keys, sunglasses, things like that that you tend to, well, you don't grab remotes. But your keys and sunglasses and things like that you tend to grab when you go out. And when you come in, you need somewhere to place them. So if your console table has drawers, that's great. If not, we can always put a bowl or a basket on top of the console table. My console table is not that long. It's quite short, I guess, narrow. Most of the space of my console table is taken up by my floral arrangement. Also, a lot of people will sometimes put baskets underneath their console table, so mine has this little cabinet. If it did not have this cabinet, we could put some stools or baskets to hold items. So after you find your console table, next you want to find a mirror. Now, not every entryway has a mirror. Some have artwork, as I'm showing you on the screen, but most of them contain a mirror. And the mirror is so you can look at yourself before you leave the house, and for guests to be able to look at themselves when they enter your home. I have a floor-length mirror in my entryway. You don't have to have a super huge mirror. It can also be quite small next to a large piece of art if you want. But a lot of people will center a large mirror right above their console table. And you can find really beautiful ones. There's even one at Walmart, a mirror that I want. I think it's $59. It's so pretty. But you can also always find one on Facebook Marketplace. Next, I want to discuss the artwork. So if you don't go with the mirror, you can always put a large piece of artwork above your console table. I've also seen gallery walls surrounding the console table. I love the look of gallery walls personally, but I am also terrible at creating gallery walls. I have tried numerous times throughout my course of decorating a home, and I am not the best at them. That is one of my flaws, is gallery walls. But you could also do something, what's the word? I cannot think of the word, but let's use the word showstopper. So I put this huge piece of antique window, church window here behind my mirror and console table, and I love it. It's unique. It draws the eye to the entryway, which is where you want people to look at when they enter your home, so they know, like, oh, this is the entryway. This is where I can put my keys, things like that. And you also want it to make an impression since it is your entryway. And I believe that this piece does. Now, I found this on Facebook Marketplace. You can find them on Facebook Marketplace, antique stores, thrift stores. You can put all kinds of stuff. You can do it. I have seen people put antique tapestries behind their console tables. I would love to have an antique tapestry. I simply have yet to find the right one in my budget, and the right size. And so this is what we are doing now, which I don't think I'll ever change it. But if you have an antique tapestry, that would be great. Or I have also seen people hang rugs, which would be gorgeous. House of Tokumen on Instagram, she sells vintage Harrods, Parisian rugs from like the Middle East and Turkey and stuff, and they are gorgeous. I wish she would sell more wholly tattered rugs on her website, but she can always find them for you and source a rug that you would like that could also fit your space. And so a rug hung up on the wall would be gorgeous. Now, if you are just starting out and you don't have something showstopper, or that's a bit too much for you because it's a little much for a lot of people, you can just stick with your console table and your mirror, or your large piece of art and a small mirror, something like that, and that would still look beautiful, and it will create a space for your entryway. Okay, now let's discuss the decor on top of your console table. So in a lot of our inspiration photos from Pinterest, we have one of two things: either a vase of fresh or faux florals, or one or two lamps. If you have a space for a long console table, two matching lamps would look gorgeous on your entryway. If you have a smaller console table like I have here, we could do one lamp, or you could just do flowers like I do. Mine are dried hydrangeas cut from my grandma's hydrangea bushes. And then I have this vintage picture holding them, so it's something interesting, something that I love because I am into antiques. But if you are not, we could always do modern with a modern stoneware jar, something like that. A clear-cut glass vase, and give it like a Nancy Meyers feel would also work and be beautiful. If you don't want to do lamps, you could also always do some hurricane glass candles and give it a Nancy Meyers feel as well. Just a cozy, collected, well thought out entryway home. Now, on top of your console table, we don't want to just have one vase of flowers, and we don't want to just have two lamps and nothing else. You have to have something else that will draw interest. So remember, if you don't have drawers, we could also always do a beautiful bowl, either wooden or a beautiful glass bowl, stone bowl, something like that, for people to place their items in on top. Decor-wise, you could also always have photo frames. Here on mine, I have two pictures. Now, if you don't like a colorful antique home, kind of like mine is, we could also always do the Nancy Meyers feel, which is very popular right now. It's comfortable, it's classic, classy, chic. One tip that she does is she always has her photo frames either in plain black or typically silver. I'm a silver lover. I love silver. And so I think some chic silver frames would look gorgeous on a console table, especially a dark walnut one if you have that. I personally love the cozy at-home style. So one way I do this in my entryway is on my mirror, I always have photos. So for now, what's big in our house is that a baby will be coming soon. And this is just a fun way to share that as people enter your home. And of course, I need to clean. If you have trouble with your photos staying on your mirror, like this one's coming up, sometimes I will take sticky tack, place it on the back, and then push it onto the mirror and do that. Whoops. Now, during the holidays, I will put like Christmas cards here and things like that instead of photos. So this does change depending on the season. Now, if you have a space big enough and you did not use a super long console table, like mine is quite short, I have extra space right here. This is where the door opens up, so nothing is here. But here I have an extra space, and I usually like to fill it with seasonal decor. So right now, this was from a baby shower that we held. It was outside. I just brought it inside and set it here as like a little welcome area. During the fall, I will put pumpkins. During Christmas time, some little Christmas trees, things like that. So it's always fun to keep a space saved for you to be able to decorate seasonally. Now, if you don't have the money to buy fresh flowers every week for your entry table, like I do not have that, you can always do dried flowers, or fall is coming. One thing that I like to do is collect some sticks from outside, and I just stick them in a vase, and they look so beautiful. One last item that can also be seen in your entryway is a stool. A stool for people to take on and off their shoes. A stool for you to sit your purse on, which is what I do with this one. Or simply to hold extra seating for your living room. And it's so beautiful. Again, if you had space under your console table instead of a cabinet like mine, you could always slide a stool right underneath and it would look gorgeous. Thank you so much for watching. I hope these tips were helpful in helping you create an entryway in your home. Of course, you may think not every home has to have an entryway, but inevitably, every home you enter, so that is your entryway, whether you decorate it as one or not. So to create a cozy, beautiful one with a budget-friendly idea like I have done here, I just wanted to give some tips on how you could do that quick and easy. As you can see, breathing is getting harder and harder. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and comment down below an entryway tip.